They took my temperature for the second time, and my temperature was high. Now I'm panicking. So I am sitting on the floor as I said I would. See how I keep my promises. Okay, it wasn't much of a promise, but it was a word. See how I keep my word? I just thought that, the best way to go about this is speak about it immediately while it's still fresh in my mind, because the longer I wait, it's just gonna filter out. Even though it's important information, it will just filter out. Let me just get straight into it. I went to get my vaccination yesterday. Girl, yesterday? It was this morning. Alright. I went to go get my vaccine. I got vaccinated. Oh my gosh. This panorama terminology. Oh, pandemic terminology sometimes is a lot. So yeah, I got vaccinated this morning, and so far, not feeling anything. I said back in the train station that I just felt that my arm was a bit stiff, just like even now when I feel it. So it was this shoulder that they did the things to be done, and they injected this arm. I am not feeling anything as of yet. I don't want to be counting my chickens before they hatch, because you know how these things operate. 1 minute you're fine, the next minute you flip a script, So I'm not feeling feverish. Well, I may be feverish, but I'm not feeling it. The aircon is on and whatnot. I know if I speak about the heat one more time, I swear like someone's gonna slap me across the face, but it is really hot. Just check here. Check at what my phone was doing when I tried to, I wasn't necessarily using the flash function, considering it's during the day, but an entire triangle with an exclamation mark on it. What does that indicate? Very, very hot. Wait for it to cool down. So yes, it was very quick. The whole process in and of itself was very quick, but getting there was just a mission. It was supposed to be so simple from my Naver maps. I think the problem started when I went back to get my passport, which was not a need, but because I am a paranoia HUN like that, I was like, I better just get everything, because you never know what they will hit you with when you're there. Where's this? Where's that? Where are your documents? I didn't want that nightmare, so. But there was no need for as I rightfully thought, I was like 87% sure that my ARC card would suffice, but just there's that slight chance. But why is there a crumb here? Yeah, I have to get rid of that crumb. Don't know what I was eating for that crumb to be here. I don't know what crumb that is. No, it's not a crumb. I don't know what this is. In the trash you will go eventually. I think if I hadn't gone back to get my passport, I would have been at the right bus stop. And therefore I would have arrived in a calm, fashion. My timing was going to be good, like I would have had time, excess time. However, I was told that they weren't necessarily strict on time, but still with these things you just want to stick to the appointment as much as you possibly can, and in my defense, I did leave the house accordingly, 9:30 for an 11 o'clock appointment. If the trip stipulates that it's gonna be less than 50 minutes, I think an hour and 30 minutes does enough, but it didn't. But anyway, I got to the second transfer. That's when also it was weird. Okay, so I looked at the monitor in the second bus stop that I was supposed to be at. I was at the right bus stop because I confirmed it with Neva. This is now, just to be clear, me going to the vaccination center, the sports center. There was a bus called 61 that I was supposed to get on. There were two 61 reflections displayed on that monitor. So on the screen, I was confused because on my Naver maps, it said 2 minutes upon almost getting there, and then it corresponded with my app and what it said on the monitor. It was in sync. But then the second 6-1 said like it will arrive in like 4 minutes. So there was the same bus arrival times at like a 5-minute discrepancy between the two arrival times regarding the same bus name. So that's where the confusion came in, because I wasn't sure which 6-1 I was supposed to get on. So then there was this kind guy that happened to be at the bus stop, and like I was, it's very surprising to get people that will interact with you here, because most of the time, obviously, English is always the language barrier, obviously. So they don't necessarily go out of their way to assist you, even though they can see that you look lost. It's like each to their own, every man for themselves and God for us all kind of mentality. So it's fine, and then he egged me on, because you could see I was looking at the same bus name on the monitor. Then he said, come. And I didn't even spoken to this guy. I didn't spoken to him at all. I didn't ask him for anything. We go in and then we start conversing. He speaks English, obviously, or else it wouldn't have happened. And we spoke, and turned out to be a really cool guy. He just said, don't worry, relax, just be calm, stick with me, kid, you'll be fine. So at this point now, my guard is down, so I am not even going to be looking at my phone, because now my whole trust is in this guy to get me to the VAXX center. And then we started conversing. He was telling me very interesting things, that he works 4 jobs to kind of stay afloat. That really blew my mind. I feel like, yes, several income streams are almost a necessity in the day and age we live in. But oh my gosh, it came about because I asked him. He obviously knew where I was going because I told him. Then I asked him where he was going. He said he was going to the cafe. So he works like as a barista, makes the drinks and everything. And he's like, this was like his 3rd job. So he does that. From what I remember, he said, remember, I didn't know this guy at all. Like, literally, we met at the bus stop. I'm following him. He told me that he works at the cafe. Where else? Oh, he has a YouTube side hustle. He does makeup tutorials. Very cool. It's interesting because he told me that his YouTube side hustle, he called it his secret job, that he does makeup and stuff. So I found it quite interesting with the kind of the choice of words and the language he used to kind of conceal that. Like, it's still, because, Korea, with regards to progressive gender roles, it's getting there, but it's extremely slow with regards to the sexuality trope at large. Is still not exposed. He said it's his secret job. That's what he called it. And then he eventually told me what exactly it is, because, Namiam, I ask a lot of questions. I know. I'm annoying. I'm a nuisance. I am. He does video editing on the side and something else. I just forgot what. But yeah, essentially, he told me that, and he told me he has quite a strong following also on YouTube. He's got like quite a good following. Like, he was a really cool guy. Like, I was like, please give me tips, and tricks, especially on ways to, shorten videos. He showed me where his cafe is, because it was on the way, and then he said I should just go on straight and walk. So now in my mind I'm thinking, okay, it's like 4 or 5 minute walk. Did I not walk like an extra 15 minutes? Firstly, I didn't know where I was going, but he tried to give me a guideline, like said I should stick to the walking trail along that line, but it wasn't that simple, because there were like a lot of nooks and crannies and turns and twists but anyway, this is me running. I was running with my whole heart, trying to make the time, because at this point it was 10:55, and I didn't know exactly where I was. So then I got there as hot as can be, and actually the heat will come into the fore. It will be a topic of discussion, because really, my first approach getting in there, they checked to see if I'd registered and whatnot. They said yes, my name was there. Did that, then I got in. The first impression of the whole center is it was virtually empty. There was literally no one. There was like an army full of empty chairs. I was like, Where are the people? Especially because on a Saturday, I would think that logic would dictate that that's where people flock because during the week, people are working. But no, to my surprise, it was completely empty. And then, so I did the whole shebang bang. The actual process was very quick. Got there, you know. Oh, before I get to the process, one of the stations, they took my temperature for the second time, and my temperature was high. So I'm panicking. Like, my first thought was I was in a sauna just now outside. I was in the sun, and not only was I in the sun, I was running. Not only was I running to get there, I had a cap on, so my forehead was enclosed. So there was just a lot working against me with regards to my temperature. So it was apparently like quite high. So then they gave me a chance. I was like so scared because obviously if you have an actual fever, you can't get vaccinated. In fact, you have to go home and quarantine. They said, you know, we suggest that you stand in front of a fan so that you cool down. So I cool down, you know, after 10 minutes. And then like after 10 minutes, I come back. They retake my temperature, and yeah, it's fine. Like my temperature was regulated, it went down and whatnot. My body temperature went down and so forth. And then it was a very quick process. Actually, waiting time was next to nothing because there were, as I said before, there weren't any people. There was like literally 3 people in front of me, and there were several stations. So I barely sat and waited. So I went in, and there was a very, very clear doctor that elucidated everything to the T. She made everything very clear to me. She spoke, obviously, if you're a doctor anywhere, you need to speak English. But she made it very, very clear as to what would happen, what the process entails. The one thing that raised my eyebrow, and I actually wish I got that as a recording, but vlogging things weird, can be for the most part. So what she said is that, you know, I'll be getting the PFIZER vaccine. You know, I should come back after 3 weeks for the second shot. But in the case of there being a shortage, then that means the second jab would be another vaccine, Moderna or AstraZeneca or something else, in case I don't get the Pfizer like shot if it finishes or something. So I was literally like a meerkat, raised an alarm. Why? Because for me, it makes sense in terms of there being uniformity. Well, at least consistency. So the first shot you get should be the same as the second shot. The name of the vaccine you get, you'd ideally want it to be consistent throughout the whole immunization route. You want consistency. So that's why I was like, but what would that mean for me? What is there after effects with regards to having 2 different vaccines just chilling in your body? You know, like, will your antibodies recognize? Like, will they not get confused? You know, your poor, not erythrocytes, not thrombocytes, your poor leukocytes, betuna, your poor leukocytes, aka your white blood cells. But anyway, so yeah, she finished explaining that to me, and then after that, my manager actually tells me that I'm glad I went with you to hear that piece of information, because my manager had arrived before me, so she got hers first and then I got mine after her. So she accompanied me through most of the procedure and through each station. So she also heard some of the information that was told to me, which interestingly was not told to her. She felt her doctor did not substantiate on something. I got it here. Okay, so here is the moneymaker. Jokes. It was very, very quick, actually. It was literally less than 3 seconds of my life that I'll never get back, because there was an issue with the whole processing of the registration, because they're quite disorganized with that. You know, like, you register, but then they tell you that we didn't find your name on the system. Usually they're supposed to print a form for you telling you when you should come back next. I was just told by word of mouth that I should come back around the 14th of August. But I didn't have a formal document saying that, because my name didn't reflect for the formal form. I don't know, just my manager tried to explain it to me, but some of the stuff went over my head. And then afterwards, you have to kind of wait at the center for like 15 minutes after receiving it, just so that they can monitor your well-being and just see if you're okay. So That was the whole thing. That was my vaccination journey. It was okay for the most part. I think I psyched myself out, but again, it's always said that the fear is never in the bang, only in the anticipation of it. So I think that phrase really rendered meaningful today. There was nothing to worry about. In fact, I would really, really strongly urge people to go get vaccinated. Do it. Just do it. The variants, you've heard time and time again, are no joke. So we need to just arm ourselves and protect ourselves as best as we can going forward, because we don't know what we're up against truly. It's wild to think. How many lives have been claimed by this microscopic thing, this pathogen? I mean, invisible to the naked eye, and it's doing more damage than one can ever imagine. Biological warfare is something else. Also, I must make a notable mention about information, just like misinformation, just like a lot of things you hear. We are overwhelmed, we are engulfed, we are within the age of information, so much so that it's difficult to sift what is and what isn't. I felt like I needed to say this because my co-worker this morning also freaked me out. So he got his before I did, and he texts me on Kakao. He's like, Kakao Talk is like the WhatsApp equivalent messenger in Korea. So he texts me on Kakao. He's like, he got vaccinated and everything. They told him that you're not supposed to shower 24 hours before receiving the vaccine. And I'm just like, why don't we get told these things? This was the first time I hear of this. Like, have you heard about this? Has anybody else heard about not showering prior to getting it, like 24 hours? I'm just thinking to myself, how are we not supposed to shower? Literally yesterday, we had a water play special activities with the kids because we are going into our vacation week, our summer vacation week. So the last day before the vacation, we always do something special with the kids. Here are the pictures to show. We were drenched in water and sweat and dust and just dirt and all the things you can think of, obviously. And this was yesterday, so you're telling me between yesterday and today, you're not allowed to shower. How? Make it make sense. You're gonna shower before you sleep. I showered in the evening before I slept because I was not gonna sleep in all that gunk. So like, this to me was very confusing, really and truly. If you did make it to the end of this video, 감사합니다. 감사합니다. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the act. Please interact with me. I like talking. Gets lonely sometimes, so talk to me. I'll talk back. I've been alone for quite some time, so interact. Don't lurk. Bye. My band-aid also says bye. 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 Thank you. Subscribe. Share. Like. Stupid girl. Stupid girl.